Okay, guys. So we're gonna start. We're gonna kick off. We've got a lot to discuss today.
Loads. But
Yes.
for those people who are joining us for the first time,
Yes.
my name is Ulrich.
And I'm Siobhan.
And this is The Journey So Far. And basically, this whole segment is just all about us sharing our journey. We're celebrating 10 years of marriage this year.
Yep.
And our purpose in this season is just to give back.
Yes.
Give back pearls of wisdom.
Yeah.
Some of the things that we've learned throughout our time of being married. We're celebrating 10 years in September.
Yes, we are.
And it's been a long journey.
It
and
has.
This journey so far is just literally going step by step in terms of how we got to the altar in terms of getting married.
Yeah.
And then later on in the year, we're going to talk about, relationship topics. And this is not just about male-female relationships. We're going to talk about fatherhood. We're going to talk about motherhood,
Everything.
sisterhood,
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
But we just thought we'd start with our relationship.
Yeah. So I mean, I think Ulrich has summarised it really. We had an interesting journey, and every time a whole decade.
I'm done.
Thank you very much, guys. Every time we share our story, people say, "I've never heard of anything like this before," or they're just like, "You need to go further with this. You need to take it further." So after the years of encouragement, we've decided, you know what, let's do this now.
But the thing is, we tried to start.
Yeah, we did
many times.
We did, and it just didn't quite.
It wasn't the right time.
It just wasn't. It wasn't the right time.
Yeah.
So I think all of that was kind of like the preparation.
Mr. Hart.
It was all preparation to get us to the stage that we can start sharing with you guys now. We haven't got it
100%.
all figured out.
No.
We are still on a learning curve. We're not saying because we've hit this 10-year marker.
So therefore we know everything.
No, not at all.
Way. No way.
Hey Rochelle, how you doing, honey? I'm sorry I missed your call today. It's been one of those days. We will talk though.
Yes.
But
so
so basically, we're going to start with our questions. Thank you so much, guys, for sending your questions. Admira, thank you so much for putting your question just now. We will try to answer it for next week's show.
Yeah, but put it into the question box, please, so that we can see them, and then we can deal with them.
Yeah, and if any of you guys have any questions, feel free to put them on here in the question box, or feel free, if you want to be more anonymous, feel free to download Slido and you can send it over to us via Slido. It's entirely up to you.
Ask the Cokers is the hashtag.
Yes, sorry.
Ask the Cokers.
Ask the Cokers.
Yeah. Or you can direct message us as well.
It's entirely up to
We've
you.
had quite a few questions via direct messages.
Yes,
so
we certainly have.
So yeah, cool.
Okay, so we have question number 1. What do you do when the player / the captain decides they no longer want to play or lead the team?
Now, I have to clarify that for those people who did not watch last week's.
Yeah.
And we were talking about submission in marriage. And one of the illustrations that I gave was how marriage is like a team, football team, any kind of team that has players within it. And so the husband is the captain. And sometimes the captain makes a decision which the team may not necessarily agree with. But in order for the team to win, they have to come under whatever the captain's saying so that they can reach the end goal.
Yes.
So yeah, just to kind of clarify that question. So what do you do when the player, which is obviously representing the wife or the captain, who is the husband, decides that they no longer want to play the game or lead the players in that team? Deep question.
Very deep question.
Yeah.
So we're going to come back to that one.
Yep.
The next question is, what do you do when external pressures, family, health, finances, etc., puts a strain on your relationship? Ria said, why? And honestly, this question here, if I had a penny for the amount of times that people have asked this type of question to us, it's unreal.
Yeah.
And it's some weighty stuff, so we're going to come back to that one as well. We're going to start at question number 3, which is, does culture really affect relationships? Now, initially, Jesus is Lord. Initially, we thought that this question was quite simple. So we thought, okay, we'll start with that one.
Yeah.
But as we started talking, it just kept evolving.
It just became something different.
So, trying not to miss out on what we've actually got planned to talk about today with the no kissing.
No kissing.
We're going to try and get straight we're going to try and get straight into, does culture really affect relationships? And in a nutshell, absolutely.
100%. It
Completely.
does. Yeah.
The culture that you grow up in plays a massive part in what you choose and espouse, what you're looking for, if you go for what you know, or if you go for what you don't know. I.e., you've experienced so much, you don't want anything to do with what you've experienced.
Yeah.
You're scarred. You know?
Or you have a different preference.
Yeah. Because you've seen it and you know that. So you want to walk on, I don't want to say the wild side, but you want to go for something different, which is absolutely okay. Hey T, it's good to see you.
But yeah.
Tracy. It's Tracy.
Oh!
Or it's like your culture that you've been brought up in.
Yeah.
That shapes what you're looking for. Because you've seen it, so you're like, yeah, this is a good, I think that the way that I've been raised is a good way, and I want to see that. I want to see that as like in my children.
Or it could have the complete opposite effect, where how you've been raised is not good.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of looking for a different way as to how families operate as well. So all of these things are really, really important, because I think even for me, growing up, I always thought that I was going to end up with an African. Like, duh. Do you know what I mean? Born in Africa, born in Sierra Leone more specifically. So I just automatically thought, yeah, well, I'm definitely going to end up with an African, definitely. So when she came along, do you know what I mean? I mean, I didn't really like, I didn't fight it.
No.
Do you get what I'm saying? I'd had an ex who was Jamaican, and I was just like, and that didn't end very well.
Yeah?
Yeah, I told you, don't try it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wasn't really too keen at the beginning, to be very honest. But, she stole my heart.
And Afriye knows. Afriye.
Yeah, them sandals.
The people who are around back in those days.
I don't wear those sandals.
No, it's true. Like, I never, if I, back in the day, we grew up very much in the Caribbean culture. The people that we were around, they weren't really of African heritage. I didn't really know many. It was only when I got to university that I met a wealth of people who were from Ghana, Nigeria, just the full works. And it was only, I mean, to be honest, I know the jokes that we bust back then about, like, people that you're expecting to marry. Yeah. And I never thought that I would marry an African man. And here I am 10 years later. And I love the fact that his rich culture it's just so amazing, and I loved it when I went to Sierra Leone. It was one of the most beautiful places I've been. And it's the same with Ulrich. When he went to Montserrat, he was just
beautiful country.
He wanted to be there for even longer. So I know that culture has a massive impact on lives and who you are. But one thing we would definitely encourage is, I'm from Jamaica and Montserrat.
Hey Kunle.
Hi
Pastor Kunle. Before I get in trouble.
What we would definitely recommend is, before you get into a relationship, if you're not quite in one, try to establish what cultural things you like that you've been raised in, and what cultural things you want in a relationship. It doesn't have to be so fixated that that's the only thing, because like we said, we never thought that we would be with the opposite culture to our own, and yet we found ourselves in it, and we were easy to be flexible.
Yeah, because the funny thing is, like, when we were talking about it this week, I said to Siobhan, I said, this whole cultural thing, I think we have to also be very careful with it, because sometimes we know that some people are choosing to go outside of their culture because they've been hurt by relationships within their culture. So true. It's kind of like shutting the door completely to those type of men or those types of women.
Yeah.
And it's very dangerous as well. So you have to kind of be very prayerful as well.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's like what Fred Hammond said in his album, love will find you.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? And sometimes when you surrender that part of your relationship,
I like that,
and say, well, I'm not going to try to dictate what this thing is going to be. I'm just going to basically see how it goes. Do you know what I mean? Because you might meet somebody who, doesn't even that is nowhere near
Yeah.
what you imagined you'd be, but then your heart just begins to fall in love.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, why am I trying to fight this thing because of, you know, something that I've premeditated in my mind? It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I think with all of this kind of cultural stuff, I think we just have to take it with a pinch of salt, because it is very important. It definitely affects relationships. And even like mixing cultures in terms of like practices and the things that people do. Like when I started, obviously, you guys know me, I'm Gully, so everything that, even within my own culture, everything that was happening, I was questioning everything. So why do we do that? Do you know what I mean? Like, why do we do that? You know, why when you bust a fresh bottle of alcohol, why do you have to throw it on the floor? Like, why? Like, what? And the same thing with my own culture. Do you know what I mean? Because we have this mad thing where it's like, should I even share?
No. But the point is,
some mad things, man.
The point is that
it's not godly.
But then the point is actually understanding what you come from, what you represent, what you've grown up around, and then what you now want to perpetuate or what you don't want to have perpetuate. Or perpetuated, because at the end of the day,
Sim J, don't share. That's why I held my tongue.
Because at the end of the day, you need to know what you're looking for, what you want in a spouse, and what you want to raise children in. I mean, for some people, they don't even want to have children. So all of it is worth taking the time out to really identify what you're looking for.
But then I think at the core of it, just to kind of sum this up, because I know we could talk about this for ages.
I know, it's such a...
But I think what's really important, because obviously the main thing that we're obviously trying to instill in all of you guys that are watching is obviously that we are guided by God. Do you know what I'm saying? And ultimately, he is the type of person, or he is a God that it doesn't really matter about culture. Do you know what I mean? It's about having a godly culture. And that's why a lot of the things that we're going to be sharing about even today, it was coming completely against our own natural cultures, even though we still celebrate our cultures, our food, you know, our dancing, our music, all that type of stuff, but making sure that the foundation of the marriage is really founded in God, because at the end of the day, in spite of culture, that needs to be what the core foundation needs to be, so that it can last. So let's go to question 2 before we stay on this all night.
I know, sorry. Okay, so question number 2 is, what do you do when external pressures, family, health, finance, etc., put a strain on the relationship? Now, this is a major thing.
Powerful question.
Because what it makes me think about is, there's a scripture in Psalms and it talks about how you walk through the flood and you'll walk through the fire. So it means that these situations that are outside of your control, they will arise. You will be put into situations that may make you feel overwhelmed, like this COVID situation right here, where it's an external pressure, but it's putting a pressure on your relationship. It's hindering you from being able to see each other. It's hindering how you interact. It's hindering how you spend money. It's hindering if you have money. It's hindering a whole heap of different things, and that can affect what you've got. But the main thing that you have to make sure that you apply to your relationship is, what foundation did you build on?
Absolutely.
What foundation did you even start this relationship upon? Because when these trials come, which they will, family grieving, like if you lost a loved one, and how many people in this season have lost a loved one, it's serious, and it's now looking at, okay, so what's your relationship built on? Is it built on romantic dates and money spent and experiences out in the club? Well, now you can't have that. You can't now rely on how the person makes you feel when they're touching you. But now it's looking more deeper at what's the foundation. If you, and this is something that Ulrich and I always talk about, what's the purpose of your relationship? Every relationship...
Why are you together?
Needs to ask this question. Why are you together?
Is it just for touchy-feely and sex and all that kind of stuff, or is it something more? Because once all of that stuff is done, it's like, why are you there? And I think even this COVID-19 is testing a lot of relationships.
Yes, absolutely.
Because it's really going to the core. Because like I said, I think in week 1, you know, this whole situation has stripped every single form of outlet. Whether it be dinner, whether it be cinema, whether it be going on holiday, like everything that marriages are sometimes founded on, which are the things, the stuff, the things that you can pay for. Now you're in your house, you have to talk. And I think Siobhan, said it correctly. The scripture talks, I think it's in Matthew 6, and it talks about the man who builds a house on sand, and it says that when the winds of change come, that house basically just falls down because it's not built on a foundation. But the man who built on the rock, he was the wise man. And when the winds of change, because the winds are going to come. The trials, like Siobhan rightly said, the trials are going to come. They're going to hit your relationship, whether that be romantic relationship, whether that be your family, whether that be your brothers. Like every relationship has to go through a season to see, how strong is your relationship. Do you understand? But the difference between those two people who built on the sand and who built on the rock was who was prepared to do the digging. And I think that is what we're kind of lacking in this generation, because people just think, oh, let's just have a surface relationship.
See how it goes.
If it touches my five senses, then I'm good. Do you know what I'm saying? If it feels right, sounds right, looks right, tastes right, then maybe not the taste right, but
we'll come back to that.
But I'm sure you guys understand what I'm saying, and I think that's kind of what we're trying to get to inspire the next generation. So let you guys know that, look, if you really want to build something strong, we have to build a strong foundation.
Absolutely.
And it's something that I even said to Matthias about a year ago or something. He was building like Legos and stuff like that, and then he kept on getting upset because he was building like this really narrow tower and it just kept on falling down. And I said, Matthias, you can't build like that. And he's just like, but I don't understand. And I said, but you have to build it on a firm foundation. And we even wrote a little song about it, just saying a firm foundation. And we just started making fun of it, but the principle is so important, because if you don't build a wide enough foundation, a strong enough foundation, then it's going to continue to fall.
It can't work.
Question 1.
Whew, okay.
We've got 10 minutes to cover this.
We've got 10 minutes. What do you do when a player / captain decides they no longer want to play or lead the team?
Should I explain it again? Because we've had a few more people.
You might need to.
Okay, cool. So last week, for those of you that didn't watch the catch up
show.
So
you can catch it on YouTube.
Yes, you can catch it on YouTube. We were talking about submission. And I gave the illustration about marriage being a team.
Yes.
Probably heard it before, but I actually was a bit more specific, and I used kind of football to kind of explain it. And so what I basically talked about was the fact that the wife is basically representing the players, and sometimes your captain is the husband. But sometimes he is chosen not because he's the most gifted. So you may know finances better than your husband. That's right. But that does not mean that you lead the relationship or you lead the decision making of the home. Do you understand? But at the same time, you have to kind of rely on your strengths as well. But ultimately, your husband is the one who is making the decisions in terms of where you're going. So I gave this illustration that you have to work as a team. And so irrespective of your weaknesses or your strengths, your husband is the one who essentially God has kind of given to you to basically move the team forward. So that's what this kind of question was kind of relating to. So it says, what do you do when the players, so that's either the wife or the husband, decides they no longer want to play?
And so basically what it means is, let's say you start out in a relationship and you both feel like you're walking in one direction, and then you get to a certain point as time goes on and it just feels like things are not working, and for whatever it is, maybe it's the external pressures, maybe it's the changing, because people change over time, but at the end of the day it gets down to a point that you meet an impasse and you're just like, you know what, I don't know if I want to lead you anymore, because whatever I say you don't listen, or whatever I say you come back at me with aggression, and I don't know if I can do this any longer. Or if it's the wife and she's like, you're not leading, We're not walking anyway. We're not moving forward. We're not making any decisions. I'm trying to wait on you, and I'm not hearing you. I'm not seeing anything. What do you do in that respect where you've been patiently waiting and this person isn't moving?
Yeah. And I think there's two main things that we need to look at here. The Bible says that how can two walk lest they agree? So within a marriage union or within a relationship, you have to be in agreement. Like there has to be a level of agreement. And like Siobhan said, maybe there was agreement at the beginning, and then that kind of changes.
Yeah.
But I think what needs to happen when things change is you have to revisit that. Do you know what I mean? And you have to revisit that and be completely honest and completely transparent with each other.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if things like children and all that kind of stuff are involved, and mortgages and all of this kind of stuff, you have to be very real with yourself. Because sometimes some people think that staying is what they have to do because they feel like they might be embarrassed about, do you know what I mean, the outcome or whatever. I'm not saying get a divorce, please. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I am saying is you have to come back together. Yeah. You have to go back to the place where you found agreement. Yes. And begin to revisit why there's disagreement. Yeah. And I think that's the first thing. And once you've analysed what that is, begin to work on it. If you can't work on it together because there's too much friction, then I would say get marriage counselling. Exactly. Just get help, because obviously there's people who are able to kind of sit down. I'm not going to try and promote ourselves. No. If you want to talk to us, that's fine. We can help. Yeah, we don't mind.
There is a whole sector that reaches out to the changes of life and how to manage and navigate through those changes.
Definitely.
I don't think that it's impossible to believe that people change. And that people have misconceptions of marriage. You know, like some people go into marriage and they think, oh, it's going to be perfect. I'm going to be easy. This. It's going to be that. We never have arguments. I can't tell you how much it gripes me when we go to a wedding and someone says, yeah, we never argue.
Lies from the pit. Sorry.
I can't understand. Culture. I can't understand how that works if you don't argue. How do you communicate? So then, I get worried. I get really worried because
I'm worried about
how real are you?
Yeah, how real is the relationship if there's no arguments or disagreements? That doesn't make sense.
We need to be able to make up. We need to be able to move forward. And I tell you what, Ulrich and I have had some hot, steaming arguments. Fire! Some real fire blazing moments. But I kid you not. Those are the memories that imprint the most on our heart and show us how much we've learnt. It shows us how far we've come. It shows us how much we have evolved as people and matured.
Absolutely.
Hey, Ash, it's a good... I don't think that we can say that conflict is good. Yeah. But it is...
Don't run away from it.
Yeah, it can be for good. It can... What comes out of it is not always just a breakdown and then you separate and then everything goes downhill.
But then I think sometimes even with those arguments, I think it's so difficult to kind of advise on these things without knowing specifics.
Exactly.
Because some people sometimes are running away from arguments, not because they want to run away from the argument, but because of what arguments represent to them based on their background, based on what they've experienced. Yeah. So whether it was...
domestic abuse,
exactly. Do you know what I mean? But I think as a rule of thumb, I always say that argument is a healthy thing. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't feel nice, and I think this is it. It's like we live in a generation where we think that marriage needs to be perfect. Yeah. We think that, having an argument or having a disagreement and all these things is like not of God almost, or it's not something you should do. That. And then what begins to happen is you try to portray something that's not real. Yeah. Do you get what I mean? Like I always say to Siobhan, because I know at the beginning and still a little bit now, Siobhan doesn't like conflict. She doesn't like us when we argue. Me, I'm ready. I'm just like, cool, because for me, I'm learning. Do you know what I mean?
It's true.
And I'm one of those people where I'm a repetitive learner. not to condone arguing, but at the end of the day, if we don't argue and I don't see that fire coming out of you, then how am I going to know you better? Do you understand what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that I purposefully argue just to see that side of her, no, but arguments are essential to a marriage. It's true. Essential.
It's true.
Do you get what I'm saying? There is no way that you can have a healthy marriage without conflict. It's the same thing with somebody who is a bodybuilder. There's no way that you can become the best bodybuilder if you don't experience pain and restrictions in your muscles as they are growing. Like it just doesn't make any sense. So and another thing as well, it's like, you know, when people say don't let the sun go down on your anger. I'm just like, I struggled with that for a long time.
And one thing that we will say, and we're
going to bed.
We're going to continuously say it. Relationships are subjective, which means that it doesn't mean that what works for one, it works for everyone. The Bible talks about not letting the sun go down on your wrath, which means don't get to bed angry. Basically, try your best to make it up. And that is the plan. But if myself and Ulrich get into a disagreement late in the night, I need to go to bed to calm down.
I need to sleep.
Because if we continue going at it and we're not seeing eye to eye, it's going to escalate and it can get even worse. And you don't need that. So it's kind of like, for us, what works for us is to cool off.
100.
Cool off, think about it, try to hear from the other person's perspective, try to hear what they're saying, and then move on from there. But I can't say that, we like the argument to drag out over several days. I hate that. I can't stand it. But what's really important is being able to identify what works for the two of you.
100%.
For those who never go to bed angry and always resolve their differences, God bless you. Send me your rule book, because I need to learn how to do that.
100%. We need to lay at your feet.
It's not 100%. So practical.
So.
Okay, guys. So, here it is.
Tyler said, I ain't got time for cool off. Let's beef now, bro.
Let's beef now.
Listen, you have to understand. You have to understand the temperament of your spouse.
Exactly, and
because if we don't cool off,
fire.
Are you ready? Because I'm ready.
It's too much.
It gets too peak, bro.
Calm down. Let's meet each other in the holy place.
Know your wife, know your husband,
exactly,
or know your partner.
So guys,
cool. So
today,
the meaty stuff.
Today is week 4, and we're talking about no kissing. Okay, so just as a disclaimer,
tell the story, baby.
I'm going to tell the story, but we have to say to you guys, this is not Bible, as in Corinthians.
You know when Paul says, "I say, not the Lord."
Yes.
This is where we're at.
So what we're going to share with you guys right now is not something that it says in the Bible. It doesn't.
Nope.
Okay. However, this is something that we believe that God said to us. This is something that we were convicted about, and it's something that we based our relationship on. People with the popcorn and the drinks.
I'm just done.
It's just
guys.
killing me.
Cracking me up.
It is the way that we conducted our relationship, and we have definitely seen the fruit of it. And we wanted to share it, basically.
Cool, man. Let's go. It's exciting. Sorry.
So, the first week we told you about, we went, we had a conversation, blah, blah, went for a walk in the park. That was the next week. Then we went on the first date. We sat in the car. And then a week later, Ulrich and we'd been on a lovely date. I don't remember where we went.
I think it was the theatre.
I think it was. It was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful night out. Lovely. We're in the car and we're both in the back seat.
We're in the back seat?
Yes, we're in the back seat.
So
I'm just like,
don't try this at home.
Now, I'm expecting that, everything's been quite lovely leading up to this point. Romantic, everything. It's 3 weeks in where it's really good. But we hadn't kissed as yet. No matter, it's still early days. So we're sitting down and we're talking, and it's getting late, and I'm saying to Ulrich,
and the voice has changed from what's going to what's going on?
all of that snuggly kind of stuff. So I'm just like, so I'm gonna get going. Like you put out a few, hey Demi, you put out a few little little hints like, it's getting late. I'm gonna get going. I gotta leave.
Just throwing me crumbs, boy. I'm done.
And I'm not getting enough. Yeah. Licking your lips, giving it the full. You're like, no, I'm laying it on thick. There's breadcrumbs. There's little fluorescent lights, arrows. Hello. We gotta get something going here. So this guy is still not doing anything. And I'm just
hoovering up all of the crumbs.
I'm laying crumbs and he's dusting it away. He's like, he's cleaning. I'm just like, well, no, seriously. Let's get something going here. So, by this time, he is not doing anything. So I just said, you know what? I'm tired. I'm gonna be real. And I said, can I get a kiss goodbye?
How could you ask me such a thing?
Get the Dyson out. No. I asked that question.
Wow.
And Ulrich said, I'm not kissing you.
No, I'm sorry.
I was just like, say what now? Say who? Hold up. If you understood the insult, I was like, what do you mean you're not kissing me? And what exactly, crickets? I was just like, what do you mean you're not kissing me? Like, haven't you seen how,
Have you seen all of these?
I didn't say that, but in my head, the black girl in my head pushed at every piece of accentuated body part. Like, so what? What did he just say? I'm not kissing. The Lord only knows.
How dare you know?
Exactly.
I know. I'm sorry, babe.
I didn't understand. I couldn't comprehend it. I was offended. I was rejected. I was what? Ulrich turned around and said,
Tyler, wait.
Ulrich said, I'm not kissing you. I'm not kissing anyone until I get married to them. My nose, I tell you, my nostril flared like, who? Like,
who are you?
What are you talking about? How can you say you're not getting married to anyone until you marry them?
Kiss.
Or kiss, you're not going to kiss anybody until you get married to them. What if we don't get married? What if I've held out all this time and we don't get married? What if it's all 5 years later and we don't even kiss and then we don't get married? Who's waiting? I was so angry, I left the car. I just said, I gotta go. I just needed to go. I had too much fire to put down on him, and I said, you know what? If I open my mouth and the Jamaican side really comes out on him, hey Shy, it's gonna be a problem. Hey Uncle Julian, how are you? Hope you had a great birthday the other day. So honestly, it was just a problem.
Yeah,
However,
it was deep, guys. It was deep.
What I needed to do was I needed to calm down.
See, she couldn't stay in the car, guys. That was the first argument. She had to walk away.
It was just too much.
Somebody would have got tongue.
With no lip left. It would have been no lip left. And honestly, when Ulrich explained that he didn't want us to kiss until we got married, I didn't know if I could even stay in that. Could I surrender to that? Like, it really, really challenged me, because I was just like,
hey Sharon,
why can't we kiss?
So basically, guys, so in all honesty, this was something that was really dear to my heart.
Next level.
It was next. Well, yeah. If you if you see it that way. But I think for me, from where I was coming from, kissing was something that was really important, and it was something that went to places that I didn't really want to go. For those of you who watched like week 1 and just basically what we were trying to do and how I was trying to kind of be the kind of person that I wanted to be, I wanted to make sure that our relationship started on a good foundation. Do you get what I'm saying? I didn't want anything to interfere in taking the relationship to a place that I was used to, which I knew didn't really like glorify God. And so my whole no kissing thing, it was a challenge. It was because this wasn't something that I said with a smile on my face. It's something that I said in faith, because at the end of the day, I knew, you know, like those of you who drive when you're on the motorway and you take the wrong turn, like that's how I feel kissing is. It's like once you enter that wrong turn, like fam, it's like at least a 16-mile drive before you come off back. The next exit. And for me, that was literally like sin. Do you know what I mean? That was like your
clothes, everything gone.
You know,
it's over.
You know, it's like a wave. You know, for the people who surf, I don't surf, but I know that once you get on a wave, you've got to stay on there until the wave ends, and it's just like there's no point. And I didn't really want to do that to her. And I think even as I was saying it, much like when we were going on the walk on the park, when I said, you know, so let's go for a walk in the park. It was like it just came out because I was in a place where I really wanted to honor my soon-to-be wife. I mean, I didn't know that at the time.
No, we didn't.
But I said to myself that if I'm going to marry somebody, I don't want it to be because of the sensual things.
Yeah.
And it's mad because obviously as I continued to kind of say it, I started to kind of like read scriptures and all that kind of stuff, and one of the things I was reading at the time was about the tabernacle. So for those of you that don't know, you know, Old Testament, obviously tabernacle is like God's kind of institution or building for his presence. And one of the things that he started to kind of reveal to me is that my mouth, and this might be a bit deep for some people, but I have to share it as it is. Siobhan keeps telling me, don't water it down, just tell it as it is.
Sorry.
But one of the areas in the tabernacle is called the Holies of Holies, which was where God's glory basically resided. And one of the things that God was saying to me at that time was that when you were kissing somebody, what was actually happening is, what was taking place was that there was a transfusion. There was a kind of mixing of like holies of holies kind of thing. I know it's a little bit deep and a bit airy fairy, but this is basically what was going on in me. And so I said to Siobhan, look, I'm not going to kiss you until basically we get married, because for me, how I started to look at it, I mean, I went even deeper, and I started to look at like wedding vows as well. And I started to research on wedding vows and how it says, you know, you may now kiss the bride. And I started to look at like that word now. And it's the same word that's used when Jesus came out of the wilderness. And it says that the angels basically ministered to him, which basically meant give him food and all that kind of stuff. And then he says, now Jesus left and went down into Galilee. And when you look at that word, it basically means to be ready. So when the preacher's basically saying you may now kiss the bride, basically that kiss is almost a representation of the consummation that's going to happen later that night. But obviously...
So hold on. He's going so fast and so fast. So hold on.
I'm trying to break it.
Okay, so when... Wait, so let's look at... Sorry, F3A.
You guys, yeah.
When a couple walks down the aisle, so on and so on, they get married, the marriage ceremony says, basically, you may now kiss the bride. Okay? The now kissing the bride, basically Ulrich has talked about, but we looked at, and this is what's crazy, I went away and we prayed about it, and I was saying, well, God, what does this all mean? And we started looking at what that whole part of the ceremony is. And with the you may now kiss the bride, we were looking at intercourse. That consummation of the marriage is later that evening, but the audience and the congregation who are attending your wedding, they cannot see that intercourse take place. So a representation of that consummation, because if a marriage isn't consummated, it's null and void, basically. It's not a marriage. It's not a marriage. What deems it as a marriage is the two becoming one. So at the altar, once they pronounce you husband and wife, they say you may now kiss the bride. That kiss is the two joining as one. Right. That the audience can see, that the congregation, the people who attend your wedding can see, which is a representation of what will take place later that night, which is the two becoming one.
100. Well said, baby. Well done. See, I couldn't get it out, but she's been under it for such a long time. So, but that was really good.
And thank you. Well done. But that is basically some of the revelation that God was giving us about why kissing should be reserved until when you get to that. Now, we are not saying that if you kiss in your relationship now, or have kissed, or want to kiss, that there's any condemnation. There's absolutely none. The Bible does not say do not kiss your intended or spouse or whatever it is before you get married. It doesn't. However, that was what was laid upon our heart, and it was very difficult. Tyler, in answer to your question, no, we did not get married in 3 months. We dated for 3.5 years. Yeah. I.e. 3 years of dating and then 6 months of engagement. Now, I remember Ulrich telling a Frier one day, a Frier, I feel like I've kissed every part of that girl's face except her lips. I kissed her cheek, I kissed her forehead, I kissed her nose, I kissed her chin, I kissed everywhere but the lips. And it was difficult, but you know what kept us? And I know somebody asked, how did you deal with the temptation?
Oh my God. Jesus,
what kept us was the honor to God.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't that we wanted to just touch each other and just break it, because lots of times we wanted to break out and do our own thing. But the thought that we could let God down, the thought that we could actually be told this instruction and be told, learn how to wait for something and develop that self-discipline, and then get halfway through and say, you know what, I'm done.
Tyler, you kissed other parts. Just go. Just go.
No, not any other parts like that. On the face. The face.
See, this is why, oh gosh.
The face.
You guys, man. He wants the... Listen.
Guys.
Anyway.
But the point is, the point is that what we wanted to do was honor God with our relationship.
100%.
And not just honor God with our relationship by not having sex, because that was a big deal as well.
Yeah.
But we actually...
And that didn't happen either.
And that didn't happen. We got married and we were both. So, but when we got to that wedding day...
Yeah.
It was the most amazing kiss ever.
Because you see, guys, I just need to come in here, because I think what I want to do to encourage the singles that are watching, is that if you can put that kind of stuff aside and build a relationship on something other than what feels good, looks good, tastes good, what's actually gonna happen is that you're going to end up building something which is a lot stronger.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because those sensual things are always going to distract you. Do you understand? And it's going to take you away from what it is that you actually want to do. It was the hardest 3 years of our lives.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. I'm blessed to know quite a number of builders. And I had to, because obviously I've done my own research and stuff. But I had to ask just to find out how this whole building thing works. And I think what we have to start bringing back... I want to kiss my wife. Kiss her, bro. Kiss her. But what I want to kind of inspire the singles that are watching is that, you know, when you have a vision of your marriage, not even when, you need to have a vision for your marriage.
Yeah.
And it's just like when you're building a building.
Yeah.
The architects come together, they draw the lines, they say how high the building's going to be, and they build based on those specifics. But one of the things that my builder friend was telling me is that the foundation of a building is what takes the longest in order to build what it is that you're going to build on top of it. Building the actual house itself doesn't actually take long, but the foundation is what takes the longest.
Yeah.
And nowadays, I just feel like that is just getting skipped.
Yeah.
Everybody is just wanting the house to look nice.
Yeah.
They just want it to... It's like new builds.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't want to go into property because Carl will start going in on me. But it's like these new build properties. They're great. They look amazing.
Yeah.
After 1 year... things just stop working, and because all the materials that are being used are just kind of cheap, unfortunately. But if you're trying to build something strong, if you're taking this, wanting to be married thing seriously, you have to dig deep. You've got to build on a solid foundation. It's like what I shared before. The difference between the person who built on the sand and the person who built on the rock is the person who was prepared to dig. And if you're not prepared to dig, then it's not gonna last.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
It's true.
And it's crazy, guys. And I think this was really. Hold on. Reconnecting. Hold on. Yeah, we had a little reconnecting issue, but it's like this is where our heart was, and I think this is definitely where my heart was when I was saying about the no kissing thing, because I really wanted this relationship not to be built on what I previously built with.
That's right.
I wanted to build with something different, new tools, new architecture, new direction. Do you know what I mean? New builders, everything. And I'm hoping that somebody can take something from it. Like Siobhan said, relationships are subjective. We're not trying to say that this is the way to do it. But the principles from scripture are there. Do you understand?
And we really hope that you guys can understand that doing that was a big risk. 100%. It was a big risk for us. We had never seen it done. We had never spoken to anybody who had said, right, I'm not going to kiss the person that I'm trying to get to know the most and even planning to marry until we're actually down the wedding aisle. And even to have that kind of...
Teresa, talk about the kiss.
Even though we had that drive and that passion, the one thing that kept us focused throughout the whole time was actually saying, you know what, God, I believe that it's you that's asked this of us. And there's a reason why you've asked this of us. Now, I don't have him as yet. He is still my brother. Until I'm married to him, he's not mine. He is not mine. So if you want me to treat him a certain way, I need to be able to trust your will and trust what you want. And exactly the same, vice versa. So I say all of it to say that because...
And if I'm not yours and you're not mine, then why is my tongue in her mouth?
Yeah.
If our tongues or our mouths be the holies of holies, like I was saying about the tabernacle, what's going on? Because one of the things that you have to understand as well, and I missed this out about the tabernacle, is that the high priest was the only person that could go in, and he could only go in once a year.
Now, we're not saying we only kiss once a year,
because that would be silly, right?
But the principle is that not everybody can come into the holies of holies. There's only one person who can come into the holies of holies. And the kiss, I kid you not, when we had that first kiss in front of all those people.
For my non-Christian people, I'm trying to...
I tell you what, the kiss...
We didn't even mean it. And for those people in the crowd, like those people who knew what we had been doing, do you know what I'm saying? They understood the rev.
I tell you what.
Because when that kiss started, mate, it was an eruption.
Our first kiss on our wedding day for 25 seconds.
Now, you might think that that's a short amount of time, but all those people who are married kiss your spouse for 25 seconds.
25 seconds. I kid you not. Ulrich peeled back the veil.
Oh, I was ready. You see when Pastor Davey said, "Now you may kiss the bride."
Yeah.
All I was saying is, it's time. I'm ready. I'm ready.
And I tell you what, honestly, the kiss lasted 25 seconds. And what's deep is we got married on the 25th of September. So on the 25th of September,
listen,
for 25 seconds, we kissed. And I kid you not, it was the most amazing kiss. I remember.
We're gonna
have to find the video and post it. I remember my mum saying, "Siobhan, it looked like you levitated off the floor. Your shoulders went up. It it was captivating.
It's like Beauty and the Beast.
It wasn't even a time thing. We looked at the timing on the video.
We didn't even realise until we watched it back. It was mad.
Honestly.
It was worth it.
It was worth it.
I
tell you what, one thing that we know that we can honestly say is, God, you asked this thing of us, and we tried our hardest. We tried our utmost to make sure that we fulfilled it.
Yeah.
And that's the way we've taken the rest of our marriage. Whether God asks us to do the music, whether it's this with speaking about relationships and marriage, whether it's anything that God has given us to do, we have always tried our best to make sure we honor it and can be trustworthy with it.
Absolutely.
And
so guys,
that's it.
Thank you for watching. Oh man, we so want to go. We so want to keep on going, but we have to make sure. But yes, so the next part to that journey was very interesting, wasn't it?
Yes. And
because
for us to be able to maintain 3.5 years of not kissing, we had to put a lot of boundaries in place.
Boundaries in dating.
So next week, we will be sharing with you guys our boundaries in dating.
Wow! I didn't even know that. We could discuss something else, but
I feel like we need to put this in here because what we had planned,
flow, baby, flow.
Like what we had planned needs to come the week after, just so that people can understand. But it's gonna,
Bonnie, just get out about senior cards. Get out.
But honestly, guys, I think we need to touch on the boundaries that we had in place, because
it's important.
One of the questions that someone said was, how did you resist the temptation? And I think we forgot a step. That the boundaries that we put in place
absolutely was the framework to basically allowing us not to overstep stuff. And sometimes we did overstep. Because obviously we're on here, we ain't trying to be perfect. Do you know what I mean? We're human. And one of the things that Pastor Davey said to us is that love expresses itself.
It seriously does.
And there was loads of expressions that had to just be like,
love.
chop
that.
Nope. Bye, I'm going home. See you later. Tomorrow. Bye. So
So
yes, guys, thank you guys so much for watching.
Thank you.
Like I always say, thank you for spending time with us, because you could be watching a Netflix episode right now.
You could be doing anything else.
You could be watching Disney for those of you that got Disney.
Or Amazon Prime.
Fam, this quarantine is a lot of things. But thank you guys so much. It's been absolutely amazing. Please share this to your friends. Tweet for all of the couples. You know who you are. Please send us things we give up for love. We are going to start sending out videos this week. And you guys are going to bust up. It is so
We've got
funny.
some really good ones.
No, guys, seriously, I am pleading with you guys. Please, couples. And you don't have to be married. You can be a couple, whether you're dating or whether you're courting or whatever. Please send us your videos so that we can post it and just share it, because I really want this thing to just be a movement where we can just have fun. Do you get what I'm saying? And just have jokes. We're gonna post our one first, so we'll probably post ours tomorrow. Tomorrow or Thursday. And then we'll start reeling it off after every couple of days or whatever. So yes, please send them through. Don't worry about haircuts. You know, I'm sorry guys, I know you're probably hating because I've been grooming for the past 9 years.
He's been self-grooming.
So I make this thing look good, you know. But guys, please just put on a cap or something and let's do this thing, man. It's gonna be fun. And so questions again, guys, please direct message us. We've got one already, which is really cool. Thank you. Two now. Amazing. Great. Keep sending them in, guys. So that we can keep tackling these questions before we go into our segment. So next week, boundaries in dating.
And a lot of those boundaries crossed over into our marriage. So
yes, guys. Love you guys, and we'll see you next week for week 5.
Bye, guys.
Take care, guys. Much love. Peace.